I played Spider-Man and Miles Morales for 500 hours, and here are 17 secrets I discovered while playing. Let's jump into it. In Miles Morales, you can shoot your webs onto trash cans and manholes, as well as a bunch of other things, and then swing them around. Pretty cool, right? You can do this to terrorize citizens or even smack some bad guys. One time I was just flinging stuff around like a madman, and I tried dodging to cancel the throwing animation, and the trash can went flying, and I was like, oh snap. So then I tried jumping and then grabbing the trash can, and when I dodged, that thing went flying into the stratosphere, bruh. I thought this was super funny, so if you hate seeing trash cans and mailboxes on the street, you can just yeet them out of existence. Miles has fewer gadgets than Peter, but the ones that he does have are quite overpowered. The gravity well is a gadget that will pull enemies together and knock them down temporarily. This is perfect to throw your enemies off their game and mess with them a bit. I love to totally ruin their day and make them go crashing into the ground and into each other. My next favorite gadget to use is the remote mine, which can be attached to most surfaces and enemies. You can detonate them whenever you choose, which will electrify the enemies in close proximity. This is awesome for when you want to torture enemies and electrocute them to the— when you don't feel like using Miles' owned by electricity powers. The Venom Smash move is one of my favorites to do. It's a great way to thin out a crowd of enemies and stun them, and it looks pretty dang cool as well. But the Venom Smash really shines when you pair it with the gadgets I just mentioned. Let me explain. First, you'll want to place the remote mines in the middle of a group of enemies. Shoot a gravity well right on top of the mines, then jump over the enemies, detonate the mines, and then Venom Smash right into the enemies. A lot of times this will instantly kill all of the enemies, but if it doesn't, you can just pull them together and Venom Smash again. This technique is so satisfying to pull off, and it makes you feel insanely powerful. Since we're in New York City, there is tons of traffic, and Miles can actually hitch a ride on these vehicles. It seems like the cars have different patterns. Some cars travel in a short loop, and others go along a much longer path. I feel kinda bad for these drivers though, because the civilians in the game aren't exactly the smartest, and sometimes traffic just gets backed up because someone won't get out of the dang road. Like, please move, I'm just trying to ride this car. Speaking of civilians, they're pretty wonky in this game. One of the most common things that they'll do is try to interact with you and give you a high five or a handshake. You can tell a civilian is trying to do this by the prompt above their head. They will literally hunt you down and pursue you to the end of the earth just to get a high five. Civilians are pretty funny in this game, and they'll say some crazy stuff like,
where do your webs come from?
Only the wrists.
And,
Bet I can sell this.
Okay.
and strangely enough,
Could you do something?
civilians are also drama queens, and I'll tell you why. Normally when Miles is swinging and jumping around civilians, they'll duck, fall over, and freak out, which is completely understandable. But what isn't understandable is why that person way over there fell over too. Like, bruh, I wasn't even near you, man. Chill out. Accessibility options in games are becoming increasingly common, and Insomniac does a lot in that regard. One of the best accessibility options that can really enhance your gameplay is the Web Shooter Burst, which will allow you to shoot 3 webs at once rather than 1. This is absolutely amazing because it allows you to web up enemies quicker, and you can get all your webs out in just a few presses. When you have the Web Shooter Burst enabled, you will be a lot more efficient in combat and be able to take down enemies faster. You can also use this to instantly complete gear puzzle.
Nice.
So for anyone who has a disability that makes it harder for them to press buttons, this is a nice option. Well done, Insomniac. Want to be able to open photo mode with the press of a button or do a charge jump instantly? Well, shortcuts are perfect for you. You have 2 slots where you can assign a variety of functions to instantly execute for convenience. The one that I use the most is the charge jump because it increases your mobility and allows you to bounce around a lot easier. It is also super fun to use in combat by keeping yourself in the air as much as possible. I take a lot of pictures, so being able to quickly open photo mode helps me capture the perfect shot. Miles' invisibility powers are pretty cool, and they're great for silently picking off enemies without a trace. Maybe you're tired of being invisible and want to appear on the battlefield with a bang. Blinding Light is the perfect choice to do just that. Press L3 and R3 while camouflage to trigger a blinding flash that reveals you and stuns surrounding enemies. You can either start an encounter by blinding all the enemies, or you can take down a few guys first, and then pull it off right before the invisibility runs out. Another great tool in Miles' belt. Momentum is so important in a Spider-Man game, and that is especially true in Miles Morales. When you dodge in the middle of a swing, you keep your momentum and you can turn that dodge right into a new swing, which is a great improvement over Spider-Man PS4, where dodging would really kill your momentum and slow you down. Something else I like to do is to point launch and weave in dodging because the speeds you can reach are absolutely insane. This isn't going to revolutionize your gameplay or anything, but it's fun to zip around the city. New York, and specifically Harlem, is filled to the brim with beautiful art. Insomniac made Harlem feel like its own character. Video on that soon. Subscribe to stay up to date. It feels so alive here. I always find myself slowing down to admire all the beautiful murals, street fairs, and the artistic vision of the people who live here. These art pieces are genuinely well made, and they're not just plastered around the city to make things seem fuller. They are placed with purpose, and they inspire me to be creative. This actually makes me want to go to New York and see what it's actually like. Hidden Fury is just as awesome as it sounds. Melee attacks generate bonus camouflage time for every time you hit an enemy. I didn't think this suit mod would be particularly useful, but when I tried it out, I was blown away. By using this mod, you can be invisible for most of an encounter and totally destroy your opponents. When you punch enemies, your camouflage bar fills up way quicker, which will allow you to quickly cloak yourself again if you so choose. This rewards a more aggressive fighting style, which is quite the contrary to how stealth gameplay usually plays out in Miles Morales. I implore everyone to try this suit mod out and let me know how you liked it. Another great suit mod you should try is the Venom Shield. Spending a Venom bar to heal triggers Venom Shield, which lasts 5 seconds, blocks all damage, and Venom stuns melee attackers. If you're in a pinch and you need a few seconds to recover, definitely use this ability. The Venom effect that surrounds you is super cool, and it's fun to see enemies that hit you get stunned by Miles as by electricity. Man, I can't even feel bad for you. You're the one who decided to hit me. This game is extremely well polished, but sometimes I see strange lighting glitches across the world. I was swinging in Central Park when I first noticed what looked like a huge gap in the snow. It just looked like sand or something. So I went to explore it further, and it looks like the lighting is just messed up in this specific area. When you walk inside of it, the lighting on Miles changes. And it also looks like this visual bug has a height limit too, because if you look at the tree, you can see the difference in lighting. I'm not quite sure why this happens, but I think it's pretty cool. I noticed it on other parts of the map as well. Beating up bad guys is pretty fun, but sometimes I just like to mess with them. There are plenty of ways to do so, but my favorite is to fake them out. I charge up a Venom punch, and right before I slam into them, I dodge, canceling the attack. This is what we call mind games. This will weaken your opponent's mental state and will have them going crazy by the time you're done, which will make finishing them off easier. In reality, it has no combat benefit, but it's fun to do if I feel like trolling a bit. Holo drones are a neat way to thin out enemies. Even though I'm so good at the game, I don't need them. I still find them fun. I use the holo drones more often than not to mess with enemies and overwhelm them. Sometimes I will knock out all the enemies except for one and then shoot all 4 of my holo drones so they go absolute ham on this one guy. I almost feel kinda bad for him. F in the chat for this man, or rest in peace. The holo drones are helpful for someone not experienced or confident with the combat, and this will help draw attention from you. Pretty good gadget. Trickmaster is a visor mod that will give you bonus Venom power for performing air tricks. As someone who absolutely loves doing tricks, this is great. If you have this equipped, you will gain Venom faster, thus allowing you to use the Venom boost and dash more often. So if you're a speed junkie in Miles Morales like myself, this is the perfect visor mod for you. Disrespect enemies by using the web yank opportunist move, where you can yank an enemy back after sending them flying from a melee combo or a venom attack. Once you yank them back to you by pressing triangle, Miles kicks them, sending them flying again. This move is super satisfying to use, and I always find myself trying to pull it off. I don't think I can support this game any longer. I was in Central Park and I saw this playground, so I went to go check it out. And sadly, the seesaw doesn't move at all. What is this, Insomniac? Horrible game, 0 out of 10. I hope you guys learned a thing or two, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. See ya!